Good evening, everyone. And on behalf of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, I want to welcome you to the second of 3 virtual public hearings for the Bus Terminal Replacement Project's Draft Environmental Impact Statement, or DEIS. My name is Nick Fazio. I'm your technical host for today's meeting. Please direct your attention to the instructions on your screen. We are offering live interpretation of this meeting into both American Sign Language and Spanish. Please use the interpretation icon on your toolbar to choose which language you'd like to listen to today's meeting in. You will need to choose the language you'd like to listen in, even if that language is English. If you've chosen to listen to this meeting in a language other than English, you can click on the interpretation icon again and choose the Mute Original Audio option, so you only hear the meeting in your preferred language. Selecting this option is not required, but it may improve your audio quality. American Sign Language interpreters will be pinned on your screen at all times throughout the meeting this evening. This meeting will start with a pre-recorded video, followed by a comment session for the public record. We have optimized settings for your viewing experience, but if you miss any part of the video presentation, it will be posted to the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project website at www.PABTR along with information about how to comment. This meeting is also being recorded and will be available on the project website as well at www.pabtreplacement.com. If you are experiencing technical issues, you can contact the technical team via the Q&A function on your toolbar or by calling our tech support line at 1-212-465-5730. You can also check your meeting invite for an instructional leaflet with more information on using Zoom. During tonight's meeting, only members of the project team and our ASL interpreters will be on video. Attendees will not have access to video and will be muted. If you're a registered speaker, your microphone will be unmuted when it is your turn to speak. The chat function is also disabled for attendees, but you may communicate with our team through the Q&A box. If you did not pre-register to give a verbal comment, you may also submit a short comment in the Q&A box, and it will be added to the record. We are accepting registration for verbal comments until 7:55 p.m. Again, we are offering live interpretation of this meeting into both American Sign Language and Spanish. Please use the interpretation icon on your toolbar to choose which language you'd like to listen to today's meeting in. Please do so now and select the language you'd like to listen in, even if that language is English. And finally, if you experience any audio issues during the meeting, you can change your audio settings by selecting the up arrow next to Audio Settings on your toolbar. You can also try leaving the webinar and rejoining it at any time if you continue to run into technical issues. On this screen, you'll see more information about how you can provide a comment now or at a later date. This information will be shown again during the comment session. Before we share the video presentation, tonight's hearing officer, Port Authority's legal counsel, Elizabeth Rogak, will provide some opening remarks and introductions. Thank you.
Good evening. On behalf of the Federal Transit Administration and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, I would like to welcome all of you to the public hearing on the Draft Environmental Impact Statement, or DEIS, for the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project. My name is Elizabeth Rogak, and I'm representing the Port Authority, and I'm the official hearing officer for this hearing. For the record, this public hearing is part of the environmental review process for the proposed Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project. The Federal Transit Administration, or FTA, and the Port Authority have prepared a draft environmental impact statement in compliance with the National Environmental Policy Act, known as NEPA. The draft environmental impact statement, or DEIS, was made available to the public on February 2nd, 2024. It remains available on the project website. The public comment period will remain open until March 18th, 2024. At this hearing, we are accepting oral comments on the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project and its draft environmental impact statement. In a few minutes, we will show a 25-minute video presentation about the NEPA process, the proposed project's purpose and need, how the project will be constructed, and the next steps in the environmental review process. Joining me today from the FTA Region 2 is Community Planner, Mr. Raymond Chomchak. While the FTA and the Port Authority are joint lead agencies for this project, You, the public, are an essential part of this process. Your comments will become part of the official record mandated as part of the federal process. The FTA and the Port Authority will review all of the documents and comments, excuse me. They will prepare a summary of the comments and prepare responses to the comments. These comments will be considered when preparing the final EIS, and as appropriate, the analysis in the environmental impact statement document may be revised as a result. Please note that we will not be responding to your specific questions and comments at this hearing. All comments received during the hearing or during the public comment period will be documented, and responses to them will be part of the final environmental impact statement. Please be advised that unless otherwise specifically stated by the commenter, all information submitted as public comments will be subject to public release, such as names, addresses, and email addresses. We will now begin the hearing presentation.
Hello and welcome to this public hearing for the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project. This public hearing is being conducted in accordance with the National Environmental Policy Act, more commonly known as NEPA. The Federal Transit Administration, or FTA, the NEPA lead agency, has determined that an environmental impact statement, or EIS, is to be prepared for the proposed project, referred to as the Bus Terminal Replacement Project. Under the auspices of the NEPA process, the Port Authority is seeking federal funding to assist with financing the proposed Bus Terminal Replacement Project. The NEPA EIS will also serve as the City Environmental Quality Review, or SEQR. The FTA, in coordination with the Port Authority, has prepared the draft Environmental Impact Statement, or DEIS, with input from the public and in coordination with federal, state, and local entities. The DEIS Notice of Availability was published in the Federal Register. At the conclusion of this presentation, we will review the comment period, all comments submitted during this hearing, and the entire public comment period will be reviewed and addressed within the final environmental impact statement, which is expected to be completed in August 2024. Following these introductory remarks, we will present via this video an introduction of the project, an overview of community engagement conducted to date, a comprehensive project overview featuring detailed site plans, an overview of construction phasing and process, and finally, the project timeline and next steps. The FTA, in coordination with the Port Authority, will be hosting a total of 4 public hearings, 3 virtual via the Zoom platform and 1 in person, for the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project DEIS, to hear comments from the public. Following this presentation, attendees will have the opportunity to provide comments. For those who have pre-registered to provide a comment, the moderator will call your name in the order in which your registration was received. Each participant will have 3 minutes to articulate their comments. If you have not pre-registered to provide a comment, you may request to do so once the public hearing is underway, and you will be called upon if time permits. Alternatively, written submissions of comments can be submitted after the public hearing through various channels, such as the designated website, www.pabtreplacement.com, email at pabtreplacementnepa@panyj.gov, by phone, leaving a voicemail at 92950273004, or by postal correspondence to the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey. 4, World Trade Center 150 Greenwich Street, 25th floor, New York, New York zip code 10007. Attention to Miss Elizabeth Rogak, Esquire. Or to the Federal Transit Administration, Region 2, 1 Bowling Green, Room 428, New York, New York zip code 10004-1415. Attention to Mr. Donald Burns, FDA Director of Planning and Program Development. We are here to listen to you and hear your comments. Your feedback is important and continues to guide the future of this project. In this section, we will provide a brief overview of the National Environmental Policy Act. This is followed by the project's purpose, need, goals, and objectives. The National Environmental Policy Act. Federal agencies are required by NEPA to prepare an EIS if a proposed federal action may significantly affect the quality of the natural or built environment. An EIS is a detailed written statement that defines the purpose and need for a proposed action, considers a range of reasonable alternatives, including a no-action alternative that is the future without the proposal, identifies and evaluates the potential environmental impacts from the proposed action and any reasonable alternatives, and identifies measures that may mitigate the potential effects of a proposed action. Project purpose and need. A new bus terminal is needed to accommodate approximately 260,000 passenger trips on a busy weekday. This translates to approximately 23% of all Trans-Hudson commuters at present, and bus ridership is projected to increase to 30% by 2040. Existing bus and passenger travel demand is forecasted to increase substantially. As such, the Port Authority needs to support the projected growth of commuter and intercity travel crossing the Hudson. The Port Authority needs to address the functional and physical obsolescence of the existing terminal. The existing bus terminal is already at capacity and will not be able to meet future demand. It is also past the end of its useful life and will require significant structural repair if a replacement project is not undertaken. The repair would fix some of the issues facing the building today, but reduce the capacity of the facility to handle buses. The Port Authority needs to address bus operations and storage and staging. Project goals. The project seeks to improve Trans-Hudson bus operations, improve the passenger experience within the terminal, provide seamless passenger accessibility to NYC transit connection, strive to achieve consistency with local and regional land use plans and initiatives, develop a project that optimizes life cycle costs, and reduce the impacts of bus services on the built and natural environments. Project objectives. An important guiding principle driving this project is the enhancement of the commuter experience within the bus terminal. This principle has played a pivotal role in shaping the following project objectives: maintain and enhance connectivity with subways and mass transit, deliver a world-class, state-of-the-art, sustainable terminal design, preserve and improve pedestrian and ADA accessibility to traveler origins and destinations, and establish direct bus linkages to the Lincoln Tunnel. There is more detailed information about the project purpose and need, its goals and objectives in the Draft Environmental Impact Statement Reports Chapters 1 and 2. Community feedback. In this section, we will review the extensive community engagement conducted to date. In May 2019, the Port Authority released a planning-level scoping document for public review that commenced a 120-day comment period. The document identified a long list of alternatives that were screened down to 3 alternatives that best met the project purpose and need. These 3 alternatives were split operations between a rehabilitated bus terminal and the Javits Center, locate operations entirely at the Javits Center, and retain operations at the existing bus terminal site and Port Authority properties. The planning level draft scoping document, summary of comments and responses, and final scoping report summarizing this process and outcome are all available on the project website, www.pabtreplacement.com. In June 2021, a notice of intent to prepare an environmental impact statement was released to the public, initiating a 45-day comment period to solicit feedback on the NEPA Scoping Information Packet. Following this period, the final NEPA Scoping Information Packet was published, summarizing comments received. This extensive public and stakeholder input during the planning level, scoping, and NEPA scoping periods informed the Port Authority in formulating its proposal for the modified proposed project, which is referred to as the Bus Terminal Replacement Project. Bus storage and staging. In consideration of the public comments and local community feedback regarding impacts caused by bus traffic on city streets and the utilization of street-level bus stops, queuing, and parking across various locations, the Port Authority responded by incorporating a bus storage and staging facility that will facilitate direct connections between the Lincoln Tunnel and the new terminal. The new ramp structure, which connects the tunnel, storage and staging facility, and new main terminal, will reduce and further minimize any impacts to city streets from buses accessing the replacement facility. This reduced use of city streets will help offset the natural growth of local traffic that is currently impacted due to curbside and bus terminal operations. Additionally, during the planning level scoping process, the community put forth a request to the Port Authority to relocate the intercity buses presently operating at adjacent curbside locations into the scope of the project. Unlike a transit bus service, which has frequent stops within a city, an intercity bus service generally has a single stop in a city and travels long distances to reach other cities. Presently, some intercity bus services operate within the existing terminal, while others operate curbside along city streets. In response to the public comments regarding curbside operations, a dedicated floor within the new main terminal will now facilitate the efficient functioning of curbside operations. Project overview and site plans. In this next section, we share renderings of each project component. This is an aerial map of the existing Port Authority bus terminal facilities, distinctly outlined in orange. The facilities extend from 8th Avenue to 11th Avenue between 39th Street and 42nd Street. Project components. This locally preferred alternative, also known as the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Program, or the New Midtown Bus Terminal, includes the following components: a new main terminal at the location of the existing terminal, utilization of Port Authority property, an integrated building immediately west of the main terminal to accommodate commuter bus storage and staging, a new ramp structure and underpass to connect directly the buildings and the Lincoln Tunnel, publicly accessible open space, and private development at 2 locations on Port Authority property. Now we will walk through each major component of the proposed project. The main terminal will be located at 8th Avenue, crossing over 9th Avenue between 40th Street and 42nd Street, and will include 5 floors of bus gates, 1 floor for intercity buses, and 4 floors for regional commuter buses. 182 bus gates, approximately 40 of which are dedicated to intercity operations. Direct connection to the 8th Avenue subway and Times Square transit hubs. Best-in-class passenger amenities such as modern facilities, appealing street-facing retail spaces, modernized ticketing areas, and state-of-the-art design. The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA standards, integrated into layout and design. A partial closure of 41st Street will create a linkage of a north and south wing, increasing operational efficiency and public access. Larger central atrium, and finally, approximately 55,665 square feet of street-facing retail space, as well as 13,700 square feet of interior retail space. The main terminal will ultimately be connected to the storage and staging facility and ramps across 40th Street to create an integrated operation and circulation pattern. The new storage and staging facility will be located between 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue between 39th Street and 40th Street. This facility is designed to encompass 5 levels of storage, accommodating approximately 300 to 350 storage spots. This additional storage space is anticipated to reduce vehicular congestion on city thoroughfares and throughout the Lincoln Tunnel during rush hour. The storage and staging facility will serve as a temporary bus terminal for commuters during the construction phase of the main terminal. Additionally, the facility will provide approximately 65,700 square feet of additional at-grade retail space. The new ramp structure will be located at Galvin Plaza, west of 10th Avenue. The ramp structure will serve all bus movements into and out of the above-grade bus levels of the replacement facility to and from the Lincoln Tunnel. Spanning an area of approximately 350,000 square feet, the ramp structure will connect to the storage and staging facility and main terminal. The design of the ramps will greatly relieve congestion on 40th Street and 9th Avenue. This ramp structure design will also enhance the quality of the urban streetscape while optimizing bus reliability. The new ramp structure will maximize bus access to the Lincoln Tunnel and other approaches while minimizing the need for terminal-bound buses on local streets for circulation or terminal access. Adjacent to the storage staging facility, 2 below-grade sections of Dyer Avenue or the Lincoln Tunnel Expressway between 37th Street and 39th Street, and 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue will be decked over. The deckovers on Dyer Avenue will serve as a location for temporary bus operations and potentially for construction staging during the development phase of the replacement terminal. Following the completion of the main terminal, these areas will be transformed into expansive, publicly accessible open spaces, totaling nearly 3½ acres, enhancing the urban landscape. The Port Authority is committed to collaborating closely with community stakeholders on the design and operation of the open space. At this time, no specific design or range of options has been put forth for the development of this open space, as a consultative process will occur in the future. As part of the project, 2 private development towers are proposed to be built on Port Authority property located on 8th Avenue between 40th Street and 42nd Street. The 2 towers are proposed as commercial offices. Tower 1 would contain up to approximately 3 million gross square feet of commercial space with an approximate height of 1,200 feet above grade and a lobby entrance located on the corner of 8th Avenue and 42nd Street. Tower 2 would contain up to approximately 2 million gross square feet of commercial space, with an approximate height of 900 feet above grade and a lobby entrance located on the corner of 8th Avenue and 40th Street. These approximations are subject to market demand. The funding strategy for the project would include financing from this private development and payment in lieu of taxes. Upon completion, the Port Authority Bus Terminal will provide many advantages to its diverse customers, community members, and various stakeholders, including an elevated public realm, significantly enhanced user experience, improved vehicular and pedestrian flow, and green energy transition, to name a few. Beginning with the elevated public realm, there will be major improvements in the streetscape, including the
Paisaje urbano incluyendo la integración de tiendas con frente a la calle en todo el sitio del proyecto.
appropriately scaled sidewalks and pedestrian areas for diverse users. The conversion of the Dyer Avenue deck overs into publicly accessible space will further augment these improvements to the public realm. The creation of a larger central atrium by linking the north and south wings will enable intuitive wayfinding and significantly enhance the spatial experience of the terminal. The new ramp structure and storage and staging facility will contribute to the substantial reduction in bus vehicle miles traveled on city streets. This streamlined traffic flow will enhance the reliability of bus commutes, benefiting the experience of commuters. Moreover, the expanded intercity capacity will accommodate curbside operators using the facility. Lastly, the new terminal will embrace a green energy transition. The project is slated to achieve a LEED 4 Silver certification, with the intent to pursue an Envision Gold rating consistently. This aligns with the adoption of electric fleet changes and the incorporation of modern energy-efficient systems within the terminal, striving towards a net zero carbon profile. In this next section, we will provide an overview of the project phasing as well as the construction process. The project timeline is estimated to be approximately 10 years. Following scoping, the first 2.5 years of the project, beginning in January 2022, consists of an environmental review and the Uniform Land Use Review Procedure, or ULURP, for the proposed project. Receiving and responding accordingly to public and industry feedback, and the procurement of construction, professional, and technical services for the project. The proposed project's timeline entails an estimated 8-year construction period, starting in 2024 through the end of 2032. The initial 4 years within this timeframe will be dedicated to constructing the Dyer Avenue deckovers, storage and staging facility, and the ramp structure. The storage and staging facility will open and serve as the temporary terminal by approximately late 2028, at which time the construction of the main terminal will begin for a duration of 4 years. The construction of the main terminal will incorporate foundational work for the private development set to occur independently in the future. Construction of the main terminal is anticipated to be completed by the end of 2032. The private development will occur after then and are expected to be completed by 2040. The following renderings will depict the 8-year construction period organized into 2 major phases. Phase 1, occurring between 2024 and 2028, will commence with early action activities focused on the construction of 2 deck-over structures south of the existing ramps. These deckovers will be placed over the mouth of the south and center tubes of the Lincoln Tunnel. Additionally, Phase 1 will include the construction of the ramp structure and storage and staging facility. The storage and staging facility will be equipped to operate as a temporary terminal when the construction of the main terminal begins. This strategic adaptation will allow the continuity of essential transportation services during the onset of construction for the main terminal, thus minimizing disruptions and maintaining the uninterrupted provision of transportation services throughout the subsequent phases of the project. Once the storage and staging facility is available for temporary operations, Phase 2, occurring between 2028 and 2032, will consist of demolition of the existing Port Authority bus terminal, construction of the new main terminal, as well as the foundational work of 2 private development towers. Once the main terminal is complete and operational, the storage and staging facility will be converted from temporary commuter operations to storage and staging operations. The Dyer Avenue deckovers can then be converted to public open space, with the foundation and cores of 2 private towers incorporated in the design and construction of the new bus terminal. The development of private development would commence subject to market demand and expected to be constructed by 2040. The sale of the development rights and payment in lieu of taxes for the 2 commercial office towers are needed to fund the project. In this next section, we will conclude with an overview of the environmental timeline and next steps. At present, the project is positioned at Step 5 within its comprehensive planning and environmental review process. The DEIS public hearings and 45-day comment period began with the publication of the DEIS. In terms of the next steps, the project team will consolidate all comments received during public meetings, including those submitted via the project website, email, mail, and voicemail. Then the project will progress to Step 6, in which the team will prepare and release a final environmental impact statement and the record of decision by the summer of 2024. Following this presentation, attendees will have the opportunity to provide comments. For those who have pre-registered to provide a comment, the moderator will call upon your name in the order in which your registration was received. Each participant will have 3 minutes to articulate their comments. If you have not pre-registered to provide a comment, you may request to do so once the public hearing is underway, and you will be called upon if time permits. Alternatively, written submissions of comments can be submitted before and after the in-person public hearing through the designated website www.pabtreplacement.com. Email at pabtreplacementnepa@panyj.gov. By phone, leaving a voicemail at 92950273004. Or by postal correspondence to the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey. 4, World Trade Center 150 Greenwich Street, 25th floor, New York, New York zip code 10007. Attention to Miss Elizabeth Rogak, Esquire. Or to the Federal Transit Administration, Region 2, 1 Bowling Green, Room 428, New York, New York zip code 10004-1415. Attention to Mr. Donald Burns, FDA Director of Planning and Program Development. All comments submitted during this public hearing and the entire 45-day public comment period will be reviewed and addressed within the final environmental impact statement, which is expected to be completed in summer of 2024. The following slide is a summary of the DEIS public comment period schedule. The 45-day public comment period started on February 2nd, 2024, and will end on March 18, 2024. This concludes the pre-recorded presentation. We will now transition to the moderated portion of the meeting, during which comments will be received.
Thank you for your attention. As stated in the video presentation and as on the screen, there are a number of ways that you can comment on the project. The draft environmental impact statement is posted on the project website, and your comments can be submitted via the project website at www.pabtreplacement.com by voicemail, email, US mail, at any time during the 45-day comment period, which ends on March 18th, 2024. Any method that you choose to use during this comment period will be treated equally. I will now introduce our moderator, Maura Fitzpatrick, to begin the public comment portion of this hearing.
Thank you, Elizabeth, and good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to go over the ground rules before we begin to hear the public comments. The information that I'm about to present is also on the slide on your screen. The left side shows how you can make comments with us this evening, and the right side shows how you can make comments after this hearing. If you have not already registered to make a public statement and would like to, please use the Zoom Q&A function to make that request. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes. We will be keeping time, and I will notify you when you have 30 seconds remaining and when your time is complete. Please note that we will not be responding to comments or questions in this meeting, but all comments submitted will become part of the meeting record, and responses will be included in the final environmental impact statement. Also note that we have a stenographer here recording your oral comments. I ask that you address your comments to the subject at hand, which is the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project, and that you use respectful language in your communications. If you prefer not to speak publicly, you can write a brief comment in the Q&A function. You can submit longer comments via the project website or by email, US mail, or voicemail, and all of those addresses are on your screen. I want to stress that all of these comments have the same weight regardless of how they were submitted. I will be calling the names of those who have registered to speak in the order received. Elected officials will also be offered the opportunity to speak. I will also be calling the names of the next few speakers, and you will see the list of the upcoming speakers on the screen. You can register to speak anytime until 7:55 p.m. this evening. When your name is called, your microphone will be unmuted by the meeting host. Please allow a moment for that to occur, and please have your microphone volume up. I will then ask you to state and spell your first and last name for the record. After that, I will begin to time your statement. As a reminder, we will be limiting comments to 3 minutes, and I will let you know when you have 30 seconds left to wrap up. If you have additional comments, you can submit them via the methods listed on the screen during the public comment period. In addition to the American Sign Language interpretation that you see on your screen, we are also providing Spanish language simultaneous interpretation. For those of you who have requested language interpretation, the interpreter will advise you about when you are next to make your statement. Please be sure to pause after every couple of sentences to allow your interpreter to have sufficient time to interpret to the group. And I want to remind all of you to select the appropriate language channel at the bottom of your Zoom screen. There may be gaps in the audio while the interpreter is talking to the commenter on their language channel, so please be patient with those gaps. This comment portion of the meeting lasts until 8 p.m. However, if speakers are still waiting as that time approaches, we will try to accommodate them as needed. And if time allows, people who have already spoken will be able to provide additional comments if they register. I will now call the first speaker, and please remember to state and spell your first and last name, and that there will be a 3-minute time limit. Our first speaker is John Sawislak, followed by Adrian Castellanos, followed by Raluca Negre. So is John Zawislak with us? Apologies for the mispronunciation. Don't believe John is with us. We will also call these names again. The next speaker registered is Adrian Castellanos. And is Adrian Castellanos with us? If not, the next speaker is Raluca Negre, followed by Michael Hirachi, followed by Ralphie Vager. Is Raluca Negre with us? Is Michael Hirachi with us?
Yes, I am here.
Oh, hi, Michael. So again, if you could state and spell your first and last name for us, and then I will begin to time you. Welcome.
Hi, welcome. My name is Michael Hirachi, spelled Michael. Last name is spelled Huarachi.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm very excited to participate in these meetings. So thank you for engaging the community. I've lived in community board for over 20 years. There's a few comments that I want to make in the time that I have, so I'll be brief. One of the comments that I'd like to make is taking note of almost all sides of the Port Authority right now as we speak, don't have parking besides one, and that's the West 40th Street. Actually, the West 40th and the West 42nd Street, which sometimes turns into parking, believe it or not, the bus stop. We don't need more parking, particularly along the periphery of the world's busiest bus terminal. The PAPD can take the bus and the trains just like every other New Yorker in the city. We don't need more parking. Secondly, I think that there are ways to incorporate services for people who are experiencing homelessness within the community centers. I think there was mentioned in the presentation a few weeks ago that there would be community centers. If not any of those buildings on the side facing 8th Avenue, whether or not they be residential. I know that there are plans to make them office spaces. If in the event they do become residential, I firmly believe in supportive housing for the folks who are, believe it or not, whether we like it or not, are also part of our community. Those folks who do use drugs, those folks who are experiencing homelessness, those folks who do have potentially severe mental health conditions are also part of our community. I think that the biggest mistake, and I know that the Moynihan train station and LaGuardia, the new LaGuardia terminal, was mentioned as these great things, and they are. I work at the airports myself. I will say that some of the biggest mistake is the lack of public seating, number one, and then number two, the way that particularly the Jamaica train station funnels the people experiencing homelessness with metal barricades. It doesn't make the customer experience any better. Certainly doesn't make the employee experience any better, and I don't think it makes those folks their living daily life any better. I think public seating would help that. Knowing that sometimes that public seating will be occupied by those types of folks, and other times it will be occupied by other types of folks. So those are my comments, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, so our next speaker is Ralphie Vega, followed by Sally Bauer-Cohen, followed by Nicole Balania. Is Ralphie Vega with us? Is Sally Bauer-Cohen with us? Is Nicole Balania with us? Is Julia Campanelli with us? That's the next registered speaker. And our next speaker, Kobe Crawford, has asked to speak via our Spanish interpreter. Is Kobe Crawford with us? If not, we will then keep going with our list, but we'll come back and go through the list again in case some people are late in joining us. Give us a moment to refresh our list. So our next speaker is Tiffany Triplett Henkel, followed by Joel Whittles, followed by Tanya Roman. Is Tiffany Triplett Henkel with us?
Hi, can you
Hi.
hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you. If you could spell your last state and spell your full name for us, and then I will start to time you. Welcome.
Okay. Tiffany, Tiffany, Triplet, Triplett, Henkel, Henkel.
Thank you. Please speak.
Hi, so I am a business owner. I'm the pastor of Metro Baptist Church, which is located at 410 West 40th Street on the block between 9th Avenue and Dyer Avenue on 40th Street. So our property is adjacent to the Port Authority property, and where the new staging facility will be. So this will be a big shift for us in terms of right now we have lots of open air space due to the ramp that's right next door to us. In our building, we, in addition to our religious services, we house 3 other nonprofit organizations, including a preschool program. And our building is used by about 13,000 people a year. And we join other nonprofits on this same block. So there's a lot of community services in this very small space. And we recognize, based on these renderings, just how dramatically different the space will be, in particular with light and air quality. So we're a bit concerned about that. And I have looked at the DEIS and see that there are some positive numbers, and we appreciate the work that the Port Authority has done over the last few years to ensure that there are some accommodations for this. But I do still have some concerns about light and air and being in the building that will be right there. And again, a building that is used by the community immensely, daily, weekly, and yearly. And so I just want to ensure, I noticed in the report that there is, it states that there'll be, I believe, 40 feet between the staging facility and the property line, which can allow for a little bit of light and air. But again, we have a school on that side of the building, preschool building. And so I do want to urge the Port Authority to, as plans to develop, to ensure that as much light and air space between those buildings, in fact, do occur. We're also concerned about some shadows. We have a rooftop farm
Please.
yeah, we have a rooftop farm that services the community. So these are just things that we're very concerned about. Thank you.
So much. Okay. Let's see if our next speaker. So next is Joel Whittles, followed by Tanya Roman, followed by Sylvia Tucani. So is Joel Whittles with us? Is Tonya Roman with us? Is Sylvia Tucani with us? And so now we're going to go back to the beginning of the list and see if John Zawaslak has joined us. And Adrian Castellanos, checking to see if Adrian has joined us. And we will get a refresh, go back to the rest of the list. Give us a moment. Next, we have Raluca Negri, followed by Ralphie Vega, followed by Sally Bauer-Cohen, followed by Nicole Balania, followed by Julia Campanelli. And I understand that one person that we had just called earlier is here, and Joel Whittles is here, I understand. So if he can be unmuted, and we'd like to have him say his first and last name for us and spell it and make a statement if he's able to.
Yes, I am here. I just hadn't gotten the prompts to be able to speak out, so I don't know why that happened.
Oh, sorry if there was any confusion, but we're glad you're here now. And if you could spell and state and spell your first and last name for us, please, and then I'll begin to time your statement.
Yes, my name is Joel Wittels, JoelWittels, and I've been a commuter for the last 25 years since moving to Lakewood, New Jersey, which prompted me to, at least speak from a commuter's perspective when I saw the announcement, saw the, notice in Port Authority.
Thank you. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I would say that indeed it would be an amazing change for commuters to be able to use a more comfortable space. It's definitely not up to snuff compared to what's going on in things like Penn Station and Grand Central. So it's I think this is a very positive change, and I hope that for the others, for the woman from the the religious organization, they should try and clearly try and help her and her organization operate as best they can. But definitely a very much welcome change, going forward for until retirement age. I'll be commuting for another 10 or 15 years, so this will be very good.
Well, thank you so much, Joel, for your comments. Okay, so we'll go back to our list. Next, we had a request from Kobe Crawford to speak with us via the Spanish interpreter. We'll check if Kobe Crawford is with us. Followed by Tanya Ramon. And followed by Sylvia Tucani. So I believe those are all of our registered speakers. And so if I will just double check with our registrars that I've gone through everybody on the list twice. So what we will do now is we'll just take a pause. We will be here until 8 p.m. this evening. So we will be returning. I'll be close by. So if someone decides to change their mind and register to speak, we'll come right back on the camera and we will be with you. But in the meantime, we're just going to turn off our cameras and our mics, but we are waiting in the sidelines, and I'll be checking back in periodically to make sure that we have no additional speakers. Thank you very much. So we have Raymond and Elizabeth, if you'd like to rejoin us. we have Tanya Roman, who will be making her statement. So Tanya, if you would state and spell your first and last name for us, and then we will be starting the timing. So thank you. Welcome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tanya Roman, ConyA, Roman, ROMAN.
Thank you. Please begin.
Yes, good evening. I would like to ask a question. I work for a private contractor at the Port Authority, and the workers, we would like to know what happens once the construction starts. Is there like a plan in order for the people that work in the building for where we'll be placed at, or is that up to the company?
We won't be responding to questions here and that at this hearing, but if you want to submit your question in the Q&A or via the rest of the methods, perhaps someone will be able to get back to you on that, but we won't be able to.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Here.
Can you
So,
can
yes.
you clarify with Tanya? I think I want to make sure I understand her question. I think her question is she works for a company in or at the Port Authority bus terminal itself, and her question is what is going to become of her job when the construction starts. I just want to make sure I fully understand her question better.
Yes,
If she's still
that's my question.
okay. Gotcha.
Thank you.
Yeah, just as a reminder, we have our draft environmental impact statement posted on the Port Authority's website, and in one of the chapters of the document addresses this kind of scenario, in terms of what's going to happen, when they start doing the construction. So we definitely encourage you to take a look at that. Yeah.
Right. So again, I don't believe we have any additional speakers registered right now. So what we will do for the benefit of those of you on the screen, I'm actually going to ask our registrar to go ahead and put up the information about how you can submit comments between now and at the end of the comment period, which is on March 18th. We could switch to that. Thank you. Also, we have on this slide, you can see we have another public hearing that's taking place tomorrow evening between 6 and 8 p.m. on Zoom, and you can register on the project website to participate in that if you'd like, or let your friends and neighbors know about it. And on the right, you can see the methods by which you can make submissions of your comments through March 18th at 5 p.m. So with that, we will take another pause. We will be behind the scenes making sure that anybody who wants to speak gets an opportunity to, and I'll be checking back in periodically. Thank you. And if we could now change the slide to we'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Good. Thank you. So that concludes the public comment portion of this meeting, and I will now turn it back to Elizabeth Rogak for closing remarks. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, and thank you all. There is one more virtual hearing scheduled during the comment period where interested members of the public can receive information contained in the draft environmental impact statement and provide oral comments related to the proposed project and its draft EIS. The remaining comment period will be tomorrow evening, Thursday, February 22nd, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m. Comments will be continued to be collected through the entire comment period, which ends on March 18th. Again, please look to the slide on the screen for additional opportunities to get more information and comment. On behalf of the FTA and the Port Authority, thank you all for your participation and your comments on the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project's draft environmental impact statement. The time is now 7:58. This concludes the public hearing, and thank you very much.
Thank you all. Have a good day.